Happy holidays and welcome back to Official Rules, a sweepstakes podcast. I am your host, J.Victor. Welcome back to the show. I hope everybody out there had a safe, happy, healthy, and filling Thanksgiving. We're being recorded today on this beautiful evening in New England, Tuesday, December 3rd. It's a new month and it's the last month, and we are in the thick of it, folks. We are fully entrenched in sweepstakes season. Just when I thought I had cleaned up my browser, guess what? I'm adding in a bunch of sweepstakes for December and even some for March, which we'll get to later. But before we get into any of that, questions, comments, concerns, suggestions, beefs, sweeps that you love, wins that you got, email me, sweepstakespodcast@gmail.com. And wouldn't you know it, I literally get one as I'm trying to record the show. sweepstakespodcast@gmail.com. So before we get into any new sweeps, perhaps a new top 5, maybe talking about the holidays, I want to start off with football as usual, but a little different take on football. So we have obviously a bunch of football sweeps going on. We have the TCL Season of More giveaway contest, which I'll get into shortly perhaps. But my fantasy season has been an absolute roller coaster. And I'm only bringing this up because 25 years of playing fantasy sports, I've never dealt with anything like I dealt with yesterday during Monday Night Football. So, I'm getting my butt handed to me in fantasy. The other guy's done. I'm 18 points behind. Now, if you have a really good player on your team, there's a decent chance you can make up an 18-point difference. If you only have a defensive and special teams unit left, it is next to impossible. I consulted with my cousin about it. The matchup we had yesterday for Monday Night Football were the Cleveland Browns, led by Jameis Winston, going against my defense of the Denver Broncos. And I was running all these scenarios through my head. I was speaking to my cousin about it. I told him, it would be such an incredible comeback. But looking at the historical kind of points and looking at our league, out of all the games that have happened this year, out of all the defenses in the NFL, there have been 5 games total that have scored 18 points or more. And mind you, I needed 18 points to tie. I needed 19 points to win. So those become even less. And the majority of those games in which an NFL team's defense performs exceptionally in fantasy football, 3 of those occasions have been against the lowly Tennessee Titans. So I didn't go into that game with a lot of confidence. However, I knew, and by all means, I'm not a professional football player. You could say what you want about quarterbacks out there and say, oh, this guy stinks, this position stinks, oh, even this kicker stinks. None of us who record or listen to this podcast, with the exception of, 1 or 2 people, if that's the case. And if we're talking about my podcast, I'll go ahead and say it. There is nobody listening to this podcast who was good enough or is good enough to make in the NFL. All that being said, the Cleveland Browns quarterback, Jameis Winston, has been playing exceptionally well for a journeyman quarterback. However, he is also prone to mistakes. About halfway through the game, I was shocked because there was an interception picked off that Jameis Winston threw, and the guy had daylight ahead of him, and sure enough, the Broncos got the first touchdown. So that interception in my league counted for 2 points, and the touchdown he scored counted for 8 points on the defense. So I got 8 points on the board. Our league gives bonus points if you shut out a team, but this happened after Cleveland had already scored. So I'm starting from 0, folks. I got 8 points. The game's trudging along. There's a sack here, another sack here. Nothing going on defensive-wise, so I resigned myself to say, you know what, better luck next year. Really needed this win. I am down 10 points. Another sack happens. I'm down 9 points. There's not enough time left. There's not enough possessions left. It's not going to happen. And wouldn't you know who won the pony? Jameis Winston drops back, throws to his wide receiver, and again gets picked off by the cornerback for the Broncos. I'm going to call him Mr. McMillan because he basically saved my season. Not only did he catch the ball, fall flat on his back, he had enough time to actually get up and run the score in for a touchdown, giving me the 1-point lead that I needed. However, it was not over yet, folks, because the Browns were down by 9 points and they still had time left. And at this point, the Browns have, 33 points on the board, and they're behind, and they got to make a way. So they keep getting the ball down the field. Now, you can't score 9 points on one play. So the point is they're going to get down there and either try to get a touchdown, or if they can't make it, they're going to kick a field goal and try to get the ball back. In my situation, if they even kick a field goal, that gives them a total equal or above 35 points, which means my defense would then lose 4 points. And my 1-point lead becomes a 3-point deficit. Well, wouldn't you know it, Jameis Winston throws to the end zone, does not get a touchdown, but the refs throw a flag for defensive pass interference on the Broncos, which means instead of being out 35, 40, 45 yards for a field goal, they automatically get the ball at the 2-yard line. I, at that point, text my cousin, tell him I'm about to throw up all over the place, and I might be done for because I can't handle this situation as it's happening. Well, they snap the ball. There's a couple of open receivers, and Jameis Winston has a fairly large piece of turf to just run the ball in, but he decides to throw it to one of his players. And wouldn't you know, I could finally go to bed and put it to rest. The Broncos once again intercept the ball and run it back to the 50-yard line for some insurance. I almost scored a third pick-6 touchdown, defensive touchdown, and still alive in that league. So I don't have, I haven't had much hair left on my head in years, but certainly less after yesterday. But holy cow, what a game, what a Monday night. Unbelievable. So a great game to watch. And either way, hats off to Jameis Winston. He's a quirky guy. He's a journeyman quarterback. But he put up, for a defense that's supposed to be really good, he, stats-wise, destroyed the Broncos, but they gave it back to him by scoring 2 touchdowns off of his interceptions. So an amazing time there. My other fantasy league did not go so well. That's another story. And there's one team in first place and about 5 in second place, all with the same records, all vying for the 3 remaining spots because we only have 4 spots for the playoffs in that round. So it'll be another wild barn burner weekend. And frankly, I can't wait till football is over. And hopefully it ends up with me having at least one fantasy championship and a couple bucks in my pocket. The downside to all these wins. The Progressive Fantasy Backup Plan, a wonderful sweepstakes brought to you by our friends at Progressive Insurance. I could not enter this week because from my last win the previous week, I am no longer in the bottom half of my league. And I won't be able to enter this week either because my loss in the other league made me still in tied for second place. And my win, obviously, this week shot me up into the top half even further. So I was in 6th place out of 12. I am now in 5th place out of 12. And it is my second week in a row I will not be able to enter the Progressive Fantasy Backup Plan. Again, folks, you cannot sign up for a fantasy football league. It has to have already been active in your team. You have to post a screenshot of your team being in the bottom half of that league. So, honestly, kind of glad I got a couple entries in and I actually have a chance to win in my leagues. But moving on from my fantasy football and talking about real football, let's move on to the Toyota game day giveaways. Now, as I mentioned in a previous podcast, this one has a little kind of off series of dates and doesn't really have great entry periods. They do give you a schedule, and it's based on certain games. So the last game that we had for this sweepstakes would have been December 1st. It was the San Francisco 49ers versus the Buffalo Bills in a extremely snowy matchup in Buffalo, New York. The downside of which also affected my said fantasy football team that I just discussed because I had their number one running back for the 49ers and his backup. I had Christian McCaffrey and Jordan Mason all season. Drafted Christian McCaffrey, picked up Jordan Mason when it looked like Christian McCaffrey would not start. Waited forever to Christian McCaffrey to start. Jordan Mason got injured. Well, wouldn't you know it, they both got injured so bad in that snowy game that they are both out for the foreseeable future and have been put on injured reserve. So I wish them a speedy recovery. I'm not one of those bums who will blame players for my fantasy woes when they're getting injured in real life. Yep, they make millions of dollars, but no need to wish ill will on your fellow man. So anyway, this game on the first, it wasn't as close as some people would have thought. And Josh Allen, once again, proving to be one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, ended up throwing a touchdown pass to himself. Yes, folks. He counted, for fantasy purposes, on one play, throwing a touchdown and receiving a touchdown. He basically threw one to Amari Cooper that was a little off. No one was really sure-footed on the field, so Amari Cooper was able to catch it. It was pounced on immediately, and he was facing and being pushed back towards Josh Allen at the same time to when he flipped Josh Allen the ball back, and Josh Allen ran it in for a touchdown. Amazing play, saw it on TV, and I think I mentioned he had the play of the year with his bully run of, 20 yards a couple weeks ago to seal the game for the Bills. This one definitely topped it, folks. I mean, amazing, just an amazing player. And to be honest, I had him on my team last year when I won my fantasy championship. Probably should have gone for him a little earlier, and I'd be having a lot easier time with Josh Allen on my team. But regardless of all that nonsense, the Toyota game day giveaway, we needed in the second half for a quarterback to rush for a touchdown. If that happened, 100 people would get a $125 Uber Eats gift card. If Brock Purdy from the 49ers did it, another 10 people would get a $125 Uber Eats gift card. Well, unfortunately, Brock Purdy did not do that. And as I mentioned, the touchdown that was flipped back to Josh Allen did not count as a rushing touchdown. It counted as a receiving touchdown. However, separate from that play, our guy Josh Allen did, in fact, run one in for a touchdown. So congratulations to everybody who entered that sweepstakes on time. You are in the drawing for a $125 Uber Eats gift card, courtesy of Toyota Game Day Giveaways. I certainly hope to win one because I don't really do Uber Eats, and I'd like to check it out and see what that's like. Just order from anywhere and have someone just bring food to your house. I'm old school. I don't typically do stuff like that, but it sounds super, super convenient. So we'll see where that goes. Next up on the Toyota Game Day giveaway, we're going to have to wait until December 21st. It'll be Taylor Swift's Kansas City Chiefs going against the Houston Texans. I'll take a quick peek at the official rules for this contest, and it states the sweepstakes will only be valid/active if there is a fourth down conversion for either a first down or a touchdown in the second half of this game between the Houston Texans and the Kansas City Chiefs being played on December 21st. For those of you who are not familiar, a fourth down conversion, typically a team would punt the ball away on fourth down. However, if they are behind, which typically happens in the second half or more specifically the fourth quarter, they're behind and they need to at least try to keep the ball and get enough yards to make a first down. Someone is eventually going to go for it. Hopefully, it'll happen in the second half. It doesn't have to be late in the game. If it's 4th and 1 or 4th and inches, especially the Chiefs, they are known to go for it. They have the best record in the NFL, so they may play a little more conservatively, but the Texans, they certainly do go for it, and they have a running back in Joe Mixon that can make those short gains for a fourth down conversion. Doesn't have to get a touchdown. Again, just has to be fourth down, and they have to convert it for a first down. So we'll keep an eye on that. Prizes for that one will be, again, courtesy of Toyota's Game Day giveaway, $150 to NFL Shop. So $150 can get you some nice NFL gear. Good luck to everybody who enters in on that one. Let's take a look to see if they have... It looks like, if we're going by the official rules, it will be 200 gift cards. 200 gift cards with a value of $150. Good luck to everybody who enters that one. So going from some good news to, let's say, some not some great news. Good old TCL's Season of More giveaway. Oh, the Raiders and Chiefs. So, my Raiders blew it, honestly. They absolutely could have beaten the Chiefs. It would have been stunning. The Chiefs would have been handed their second loss. They all but had it in the bag with Aiden O'Connell as their quarterback. Somehow they kept the game close enough to be down only by a couple points, and they got close enough to get within a 30-ish yard field goal. Now, granted, the Raiders kicker had missed 3 field goals that game, but they were all over 50 yards, which is not easy. This one was closer to a chip shot and very makeable. They had it. I'm not sure why Coach Pierce decided to run one more play, but when he ran that play, the center, not paying attention, gets tapped by a guy on his side. He thinks it's the quarterback telling him to hike the ball. Our quarterback's not looking. The ball gets hiked. There was a question of if it would have been a false start. Some people thought it was a false start. The refs gathered together. They called it an illegal shift, which a false start would have just killed the play right at the beginning. The illegal shift was declined by the Chiefs, and they were allowed to keep the ball since they covered it once it hit the Raiders quarterback. And that was the end of the game. What could have been, not very, but something that was looking like a win turned into an absolute nightmare. And par for the course, being a Raiders fan, we are one of 4 teams that are, at this point, officially eliminated from the playoffs. So better luck next year, boys, for the TCL Season of More giveaway. It was a big one. They were trying to give away 251 98-inch TVs. But as you remember, I mentioned last week, 4 or more sacks by one player, which is a chore. That's an extremely hard feat to make happen. So one player on the Raiders that got 1.5. Our guy Max Crosby only mustered up 1. And superstar Chris Jones from the Kansas City Chiefs, he was the top guy. He got to our quarterback twice, but only halfway there. Needed 4 or more from one player. That did not happen, so no 251 TVs giving away. And we move on to NFL Week 14, entry period 13 for the TCL Season of More giveaway. We have this listed as December 5th. The Packers versus Lions on Thursday Night Football. 13 98-inch TVs. Same model number, QM851G as last week. Total retail value just under $4,000, except we're going from 251 down to 13 TVs. We are looking for 5 or more takeaways by one team. A takeaway is considered a fumble recovery. So if a offensive team fumbles and the defensive team recovers the ball, that is considered a takeaway, as well as an interception. The interception does not have to go for a touchdown, just has to be taken away. Depending on the weather, maybe it turns into a sloppy game. The Lions are doing great this year, and I'm sure the people of Detroit absolutely love it. They are not known for a lot of turnovers, and I'll be honest, the Packers are playing some decent football as well. I'll be honest, I'll be shocked to see this one happen. So we'll take a look. We'll keep our eyes peeled. But TCL, thanks again for the opportunity. We were 2 Chris Jones sacks away from another great $1 million giveaway, but we're going to have to hold up on that. So that has been your long and overextended, and by my clock, I see 24-minute football update for 2 sweeps. Apologize about the length in that. Actually, we'll call it 3 with the progressive sweep there as well. But very cool, very interesting stuff going on. And speaking of very cool, as I mentioned, we are recording December 3rd. My November sweeps have all been deleted. My sweeps from the 1st and 2nd of December have been deleted, and my taskbar is looking very clean. All of the sweepstakes from the back end have been pushed up. And so I'm seeing a bunch of them that are typically hidden, and then I have to scroll down for. So we're getting there. We're getting close to the end of the season. I know I deleted a bunch of monthly sweepstakes that all ended in December. So your browser, your forms, your Excel spreadsheets are looking a little thinner and thinner as we go by, but still very cathartic. I've started my cleanup as well. I spent about 2 hours the other day individually going through emails and unsubscribing from emails because I get many emails every day. I do not use a separate sweepstakes email. I use my my regular email. It helps me keep it clean. And when I started doing sweepstakes, another one of my resolutions was to keep an email box clean at the end of every day. And I've done that. There are very few that I keep in there, usually about 7 or less, and I only keep them there if they're in regards to doctor's appointments, but check my email multiple times a day for sweepstakes and other things. And it's been a good project, and it's worked out very well. So I hope you guys out there who are listening are enjoying, it could be enjoyable, the lack of sweepstakes out there as we get towards the end of the year. I usually keep the 1st of January open to take a week off from sweeping and unsubscribe from text and emails, but I want to get a little bit of a jump on it. So I'll be doing that from time to time. And speaking of time, in the meantime, let's get on to a brand new top 5 for this week, brought to you by J.Victor and Official Rules, a sweepstakes podcast. Coming in at number 5, usually a good one, and we see them a lot. Eggland's Best. Season's Best with Eggland's Best Sweepstakes. Pretty simple daily entry open to all of our friends in the 50 United States, including DC, who are ages 18 and older. This one runs from December 2nd to January 3rd, so about 1 month. It is a daily entry, and they have a few prizes. The first one being the one you want to shoot for, a 3-month supply of Eggland's Best Eggs, including one Eggland's Best themed package. That'll get you an oven mitt and a whisk, as well as a cookbook signed by Ms. Jessie James Decker. And what would eggs and oven mitts and a book be without, a $5,000 check? That is your grand prize. 5 additional winners will also receive a 3-month supply of Eggland's Best Eggs, the oven mitt, the whisk, and a signed cookbook by Ms. Jessie James Decker, as well as a $250 gift card. So good luck to everybody who enters that. It's a daily. It's going to take some time, but it's only 1 month. It's Eggland's Best, and it's $5,000. So can't really fault them for giving away that nice chunk of change. Coming in at number 4, the Filter by Double Dollar December Sweepstakes. You can win $25,000 cash. Plus, they will have 4 additional winners to win various prizes. This one is limited to 1 free online entry per week, but you can also get bonus entries with purchases, so see their website for any further details. This one is also open to our friends in the 50 United States, including DC, who are 21 years of age or older, and this one's also going to run for slightly more than a month. It goes from December 1st to January 10th. As I mentioned, the grand prize winner is going to get $25,000. The other winners, they don't really mark them as different places, but they will have, let's say, first place of $8,000, second place $4,000, third place $2,000, and fourth place $1,000. So, especially if you need filters, if you need them for anything, you could buy them at the stores. I've seen the prices on Filter Buy. They have great deals, so might as well get your sweeps in and get a shot at the big prize or even the little prizes. Filter Buy's Double Dollar December Sweepstakes. Again, check for the links in the podcast descriptions, whether you're looking on Spotify, Audible, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube. I do my best to keep those there. Great sweep by our friends at Filter Buy. Coming in at number 3, it's an Instagram sweep. It's a one and done, which I love, and it runs quickly, which I did not notice this one before, but it ran from November 3rd to December 3rd. I just got in. You need to get in. If you're listening to this podcast on a Wednesday, it's too late. Legal residents of the contiguous U.S. ages 18 and older, the Good golf cart giveaway. I would love to win this and gift the golf cart to my aunt. She's going through some trouble and has lost use of her leg. And it's not great for her to be trapped inside the house. She lives in one of those 55 and older communities. But her little rascal scooter cannot make it up the hills, and the battery starts to smell if she attempts to do that. So she could use a golf cart. This one is retail value just under $10,000. It's a one and done. So get in there, follow them on Instagram as well as EA Carts, and I will post the link to the form in the description. But again, this one expires today on the 3rd, so get in if you're listening to this right away. Contest ends at 11:59 p.m. Central Time. Number 2, the T-Mobile Tuesday, week number 444. We had the big one last week, and as I mentioned, T-Mobile's going to be on here for the foreseeable future. They have great contests. They do it every week. They give away so much money. And great marketing dollars spent. There's not a lot of cell phone companies out there, so why not give it away and try to get people to fall in love with your company? Again, if you're a T-Mobile customer, you can enter in at T-MobileTuesdays.com. I will be putting the non-T-Mobile customer link up on the pages. This one, again, it runs from a week, so this one will be from the 3rd to the 10th of December. Max 1 entry, legal residents of the 50 United States, D.C., U.S. Virgin Islands, and Puerto Rico, ages 18 and older. Our prizes are going to be a $500 check and a $500 donation to the winner's choice of a non-profit. And that will be 30 grand prize winners. So, good on T-Mobile. What a great prize. I could use $500. And my favorite charity of all time is Meals on Wheels. So if I'm lucky enough to win the donation, my donation will be going to the folks at Meals on Wheels. Good luck to everybody who enters that. And, this is my top 5, or at least approved by me. I will say this next one, it goes longer than I would like. It's a daily. The rules aren't that clear. I don't like the form that they use. However, the grand prize, which I don't even have room for, so I think this made it to number 1 just for my sheer love of the game. The Tale of Texas Pool 50K giveaway. The Tale of Texas 50K giveaway is going to give one grand prize winner, a 9-foot Brunswick Centennial pool table. Brunswick's number 1 in the game. They make the best pool tables out there. When you get one installed properly, I mean, it is unbelievable. If you're someone who likes to play pool, there's nothing better than playing on a Brunswick table, especially a new one, especially one that is free, one that you won. I think I would even sacrifice the garage I park my truck in if I won this pool table, to put the pool table in there, and I would just play there. I mean, I'm not kidding. This pool table has a retail value of $13,000 and some change dollars. They got some great first prizes. They'll have a limited edition autographed movie poster. They'll give away 12 of those. They're giving away 4 jump cues. They're giving away 8 Botango Hitman cue cases. I mean, great amount of prizes, but that pool table is just an absolute dream. I've never had a brand new pool table. I did have one that I bought off of Craigslist that I had for a few years before it turned into my wife's laundry department because I started to slow down playing and had to get rid of it. And unfortunately, it wasn't this size and just not enough room in our little house to have that pool table. But I would love to get back into it, and especially have a beautiful one like this at my house. Unbelievable. So it depends on where you look, but some sites have it different. One site that I looked at has this as 20 entries max. If you read the official rules, it'll say 100. It's kind of unclear because it says when you fill out the form, you'll get 5, but it makes it sound like it's only for the first one, and then you could come back. And then you get more prizes if you buy the movie, and it's just not really clear. It runs until March 3rd. It's open to our friends in the 50 United States, including DC, that are ages 18 and older. But I put it at number 1 because, I mean, that's an absolute dream for me, is winning a pool table. The number 1 dream would be to have a house big enough to fit a 9-foot Brunswick Centennial pool table, but that's probably going to be a discussion for another day. But nevertheless, Great Slate Production Group LLC is the company that is sponsoring this contest, and thank you guys so much for offering such a unique prize, and doing it the right way by going with a Brunswick, going all out, and offering a prize that's really the best of the best. You can't go wrong with a Brunswick pool table. You can get pool tables at, you used to be able to get them at department stores. You could get, I don't want to call them knockoffs, but secondary brands. They don't have the same kind of super speed cushions. They don't have the same kind of felt. They don't have the feel. They don't use the same slate. And it's just not a Brunswick. So that would be a tremendous prize to win, and that is why it made it on this week's number 1 top 5 list on Official Rules, a sweepstakes podcast. And wouldn't you know who won the pony? It's about that time to call it a day. I'm going to get some rest, and I appreciate you all for listening. I thank you for being a part of this journey, and thank you for being a part of this episode 19. What's that mean? Episode 20 coming up next week. It's quite the milestone. Milestone? Milestone. M-I-L-E. I'm thinking mild sauce from Taco Bell, apparently. Maybe I should go get something to eat. Guys, thank you once again. My name is J.Victor. It's been a pleasure to be your host. I look forward to speaking to you next week and bringing you another episode of Official Rules, a sweepstakes podcast. Good luck with all your sweeping. Good luck with your football, your fantasy football, and anything else that you enjoy. Have a wonderful night. Take care.
This has been a father and son production.